So you're interested in tanking but are not sure if it's for you. After all, tanking is a huge responsibility. Whether the party lives or dies rests on your shoulders and almost entirely depends on your ability to stay alive and be a meat shield against, well, everything. With all that pressure, tanking feels intimidating. A role only for the chosen few, right? Wrong. Tanking is for everyone, and after this video, you'll be benching big piles of goobers like a boss and getting those sparkly commends. Now, I'm not some super pro gamer with years and years of experience. I only started playing MMOs and this game like 3 months ago. But these are the tips I've picked up and practiced after playing with and observing good tanks for about 400 hours. And now, I present to you the beginner's eightfold path of tanking. Step 1. Tank stance. The number one key to being a good tank is pressing this button right here. Bam! Welcome to the club. You are now a good tank. Turning on tank stance is the single most important action you can do as a tank. It allows you to maintain aggro that far outweighs anything your party will ever do. This keeps monsters focused on you and away from the healer, your best friend / love interest. Step 2. Look at your party composition. Now, you might be thinking, why is this important? It doesn't really matter who's in my party, right? Wrong! You want to see what kind of DPS roles you have, because the jobs that come with you will affect how you pull mobs. For example, if you see that you have a physical range DPS, you know that they can continue to output damage as they and the monsters are chasing you. That means that when all the monsters finally group up, some of the mob will already be half dead. But if you have a caster, like a black mage, who can't do damage until they're standing still, you'll be dealing with that same mob at full health. That group will take longer to die, meaning they will have more time to put the hurt out on you. What? That's a lot of mumbo jumbo. What does it all mean? It means that if you have DPS classes that can do damage as they're following you, you can pull bigger groups of monsters with less risk of you dying and the whole party wiping, versus when you have casters where it can be a bit more dangerous. So check your party composition and adjust the size of your pulls accordingly. Step 3. Play tag with every creature you see. As a tank, you need to hold aggro on every creature so your team can work unimpeded, especially your healer. That means hitting each creature at least once. You can do this with your ranged attack, provoke, your AoE, anything. Just make sure you hit them once before moving forward and keep an eye on the enemy list to make sure that they are all chasing you. You want the color next to each enemy's name to be red and always stay red. There's nothing worse than seeing your healer running in circles like a chicken because it means that they aren't spending their time doing their job, keeping you alive. It'll take some trial and error to understand how many enemies you can/should tag before you hit that upper limit and overtax your team. So watch good tanks and notice where they decide to stop during dungeon runs. You'll know how much is too much. And if you go overboard, it's okay. It's a learning process, and we were all beginners once. Step 4. Once you've played tag with every monster, group them all together in one spot. Make a big old dog pile. Bench that mob and get those gains. Doing this allows your team to use their AoE skills, outputting more damage faster versus if they went single target and killed enemies one by one. Note that ranged monsters don't need to follow you as closely and will stray behind from the pack, so it's best to bring the herd back to them to keep them all together. Then, spam that AoE combo like there's no tomorrow. Doing this will separate you from the novices because it shows the other players that you, yes you, care about everyone's time and are trying to optimize this run and clear it as quickly and efficiently as possible. Show off those gains that you got from the Iron Church, and the other players will be very happy and shower you with commends at the end of the run. Good job, you. Step 5 is positioning, aka turn the enemy around. Lots of enemies, both trash mob and bosses, have AoE cone attacks that will damage anyone in front of them. So run through the enemy and then turn to face your party. This will focus your enemies forward, towards you, and away from your allies. Doing this makes it so your party won't have to spend time repositioning as much, a boon for your casters, giving your team greater uptime on all of their abilities. 5B. Don't spin the enemies. Some classes, like Monk, have positional requirements to do maximum damage, meaning they have to hit the enemy from its flank or rear. Your job is to make this easy for them by moving as little as possible. Now, this doesn't mean to get hit by every attack. Move out of the way, wait for the damage zone indicator to disappear, and then move back to your previous position, right in front of their ugly mug. The easier you make this for your party, the faster the boss will go down. Step 6. Use your defensive cooldowns. If you're pulling a huge group of goobers, be ready to use your cooldowns. Rampart, Reprisal, and your oh shit button. All of these abilities reduce the amount of damage you take, letting your healer keep pace with the incoming damage until some of the mob dies off. Keep an eye on your health, because if you see it getting particularly low, it's time to hit that oh shit button. Using these cooldowns is essential to having clean runs, so use them. Don't just save them for the boss monsters. Step 7. Pay attention to your healer. This has a few meanings. 1. Pay attention to how much mana they have. Don't just blindly charge from group to group, trying to be Sonic, because your healer might not have enough mana to keep up with you, especially after a huge pull. If you see their mana is getting to the halfway mark during battle, maybe it's time to use some of those defensive abilities to give them the time to recharge. You manage their mana as much as they do, so be kind to your healer. And 2, always, and I mean always, maintain line of sight with them. How many times have I seen the tank move around a pillar or corner during a big pull, and a big heal spell gets interrupted, resulting in a party wipe? Too many. A healer's love language is eye contact, so make it easy for them. Move to a spot that's easy for them to see and gives you enough floor space to impress them with your dancing skills. This is the essence of the tank-healer relationship. And finally, step 8. Find enlightenment. Become one with the tank. You are the conductor. You are the producer, the pace setter. Revel in the stress of being dogpiled, watching your health dance closely with death, and the relief that follows, coming out barely alive. What a rush! What a drug-induced euphoria! You will feel baptized and reborn from the flames of dragon fire, confident in your ability to guide and shield your party through anything, and perhaps kindled with a new love for the role that once seemed intimidating. But seriously though, if you follow these tips, you'll be a great tank. You don't need to know every mechanic for every fight, at least not until you are hitting higher tiers like extreme and savage fights, but that's beyond the beginner's guide. Using the Eightfold path as a foundation, you can clear dungeon content with relative ease. Remember, as with anything, this is a learning process, so get out there and practice, and don't beat yourself up for making mistakes. Just have fun with it, and when in doubt, remember the wise words of Buddha. Learn the tank, live the tank, become the tank.